Welcome to the Root of All Broth. I'm Kathleen Hill, and this is the show where we talk about the inspirations behind the foods that we cook. Happy New Year! I hope this new year for you is going to be bright. I hope you've already planned all the new things you want to bring into this world this year. I am going to bring you all new recipes this year straight from my kitchen, and I'm very excited about it. And today I'm presenting you one of my winter favorites, golden mushroom soup. It's my recipe, and I'm so glad to bring it to you. Let's get cooking. So for this recipe, we're using both shiitake and button mushrooms. And if you've never worked with shiitake mushrooms, the first thing you need to do is clean them properly. Now, if you don't know how to clean a mushroom or shiitake mushroom, first you'll see there's a little bit of dirt at the bottom. You can just take a little knife and scrape off any of the dirt at the bottom. And you don't want to run this under water because mushrooms will absorb the water unless you really need to, unless there's just a lot of dirt and grit that you can't get off. And then once you've cut off that piece or the part that's dirty and you've cleaned that off, then you'll just take a soft cloth and you're going to wipe down the mushroom really well. And you can see I've already cleaned these pretty good. I just wanted to give you an example here. And then you're ready to go. So unless there's a lot of big pieces of dirt on here, you won't have to actually wash these underwater. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and remove this stem from the shiitake mushroom. And then I'm just going to slice it. And we're going to put this in with our broth. Now our broth is going to consist of 4 mushroom caps sliced of shiitake mushrooms, 2 chicken thighs. And in this I also have a half of a large bouillon. So this is a large bouillon. I used half of this, or you can just use 1 small chicken bouillon. I'm going to go ahead and continue to slice my caps here. Of course I've cleaned and prepared these mushrooms ahead of time. And to this broth, I'm also going to add 1/4 of an onion. So you can make, you can just, depending upon how many bowls of soup you want to make, this will make 2 large bowls of soup. You can actually just double the recipe. And then I'm going to add 1 stalk of celery, just kind of cut up here in big chunks. And then we will add salt as well as we go. But right now I'm going to just cover this with water, put it on the stove. While our broth is on the stove, we're going to go ahead and cut it up to let it boil. And then once it comes to a boil, we're going to cut it back down to low, and we're going to let it simmer for 2 to 2.5 hours until we have a nice rich broth. Okay, I have a broth over here on the stove. I've cut it up to high. We're going to go ahead and let this boil. Now, as this begins to boil, there will be a foam that develops on the top of it. I will skim that off. And then when we cut it down, I'm going to put a lid on it. You can check that periodically, taste it for salt. I'm going to add 1/4 teaspoon of salt later on to the broth, and then I'll taste again for seasoning. But basically, this is where all your flavor is going to develop layer by layer of flavor. And then we're going to come back and add more mushrooms at the end and some sesame oil. And of course, all the steps and all the ingredients that needed for this recipe will be in the description, as with all of our videos. Okay, while the broth is cooking, we can go ahead and prepare our mushrooms to add after the broth is done. So I'm going to use button mushrooms and more shiitake mushrooms for the soup. So I've gone ahead and cleaned them, and we're just going to prepare these mushroom caps the same way we did for the stock, just by slicing them nicely. And we're going to do 5 mushroom caps. And then I'm going to do the button mushrooms. Now a lot of your flavor is going to come from these shiitake mushrooms. They have great umami flavor, that nice earthy and woody taste that you get from mushrooms. And then that's why we use it in our stock, so we can develop the flavors. Button mushrooms don't have a lot of flavor like that. That's why we didn't add it to the stock. There's no need. It's not really going to bring much to the party. But I do love the meatiness of a button mushroom, and when you're eating soup, it makes really nice for your palate to kind of bite into, and it's a nice chew. Now for these, I want to cut these very thin. For the button mushrooms, very thin. I'm going to use about 4 of these, cut very thin. So as you can see, this is like kind of this thickness here. And then I'll prepare all of our mushrooms. So again, I'll use 4 button mushrooms and 5 shiitake mushrooms. And then once the broth is ready, we'll put all of these in after we've strained the broth, cook them for just a little while, and we'll finish it off with some beautiful chives. Okay, so we are done with our soup, our broth. And so we're going to go ahead and just take the chicken out. Now you can use this chicken for other things later on. You don't want to waste this chicken. So I'm just going to take the chicken out first, put it on a plate. And now we're going to strain this. Here we are. We already prepared our strainer in our second pan. Okay, so we have a beautiful broth. Now that we have our broth, we're going to go ahead and add our button mushrooms and our shiitake mushrooms. And we're going to cook this kind of on medium. Okay. Nice and meaty vegetable soup here. We're going to let these cook for a few minutes until they just get a little bit more tender. And to this I'm also going to add some dark sesame oil. So dark toasted sesame oil, about 4 or 5 drops. You don't want too much of that. Sesame oil is very strong and it will overpower everything. So we're just going to let this cook until these mushrooms are just a little bit tender, maybe about 10 minutes on medium-low. Okay, we're back. Our soup is in our bowl. Now this is a 16-ounce bowl, like I said, so if you have 8-ounce bowls, you want to do it as an appetizer, you can get 4 bowls of soup out of this. To finish this off, we're going to finish with some beautiful chives. Do not leave this step out, guys. This sets off the soup. It makes that beautiful mushroom come alive with this beautiful onion taste. Finish it up. All right, here we go. And there you have it, our golden mushroom soup. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, make sure you hit that button and subscribe and ring the bell for notifications. And make sure notifications are turned on in your settings so you don't miss one of our videos in 2021. We're very excited about all the new things we'll be bringing to you this year. And a big thanks to my sister for my wonderful new apron. Thanks a lot. And we look forward to seeing you all. Come on back by.